What's up, everybody? If you fish the Long Island Sound, stick around. I got some really good news for you, whether you're on the New York or the Connecticut side. TheFishingLeague.com is officially live. We made it live just in time for the New York Boat Show, and you can go register your team. Pick the division you're in. All right, there's 5 different divisions. So whether you boat, kayak, or fish from the shore, there is a division for you. There's even a youth and family division if you have somebody 16 and under on your team. So you can head over to thefishingleague.com and register. There's no need to run back to a weigh station or bring a fish back in anywhere. It's all going to be done with the measuring device from the league, tournament style, and you're going to accumulate points from April 15th to December 15th. And that is how you will climb up and down the leaderboard in this league. All right, we're going to have featured species each month, like April and May. The featured species is striped bass. So each species is going to have a fish multiplier. Give you an example. A 40-inch bass would be worth 60 points on the leaderboard. And the reason we have that in play is it's going to keep it fair all season long, no matter what species you're catching. There's no way you could dominate by catching just one species because you can only register 3 fish per species per month. Okay, so we got this thing locked in. We got all the rules and regulations for it, and we are super excited to announce that it's live and it's going on. The response that we got to it at the boat show was overwhelming. It was really good. Guys already started signing up, and I got to give a shout out to John right away, right out of the gate. John, you and your team showed up Sunday to the boat show, and the boat show had closed due to safety concerns with the storm. And here you guys are in the lobby of the Javits Center sending me a picture of the crew. I'll put it up here for everybody to see. And you guys came up with the best name. I had Matt on Wednesday from J&M Seafood sitting in the booth with Rich. All right? And you were sending me messages of, what do you think of these names? And I said, 100%, you got to go with this name. And you went with it. And the name of his team is the Clam Slammers, and it is hysterical. It's a great name, and I love it. And these guys are a ton of fun, and they are in the open boat division, so that's going to be awesome. Really is. Super excited for you guys. Thanks for joining the club. Thanks for joining the league, and it was great meeting everybody on your team. The Clam Slammers are going to have a great season out there, I can tell you that. So we also had another club call us out of the boat show because they watched the podcast and they heard us call their club out. So they came over with big smiles on their face like, yo, we want to take you guys on. I said, well, we'll be happy to kick your ass. And that is the God's honest truth. And we will. Bay Rats and Buoys Fishing Club is no joke. We have awesome, hardcore, salty motherfuckers in that club. And that's all I could say. So we're willing to challenge any club out there. We don't care. So what is going on, everybody? Woo! 5 days at the Javits Center for the boat show. Bay Rats and Buoys was representing Huntington, Long Island. I can tell you that. To the point where I got to shout out everybody that stopped by the booth, all the people that were on the podcast, everybody from the NMMA, the National Marine Manufacturers Association, Lauren and Monica, and everybody that was involved, the entire staff and crew that work at the Javits Center also. But it is such a well-run show, and we had such a good time, and I can only say great things about it. I really can. So thank you. We appreciate you guys. We really do. We love you. Not only that, we had an awesome setup this year. So Bay Rats and Buoys has totally grown. In fact, this is funny. Me and Corey on the way into the Javits Center on Wednesday morning going to the first show, and we're saying to ourselves, this year we got a shaggy rug in the booth that because of the shaggy carpet, we're going to be Bay Rats and bougie. We were looking bougie this year. So our booth, our setup, we were very proud of it. A lot of hard work went into it, and we received numerous compliments. Everybody loved it and noticed and recognized that it grew and it looks amazing. So I got to say this. I'm happy to be back in the studio because driving into the city every day, I'm not sure I could do that for a living. We all choose what we want to do in life. I choose fishing and sitting on the boat and podcasting. Those are my two things. That's it. And running a fishing league and having an epic tournament. So, like I said, Matt and Rich sat in the booth on Wednesday. They came in, and because we had, we had 6 seats in the booth that we could sit 6 people down and have a conversation. We got some more stories about our Striped Bass Invitational, our first tournament. And they had epic stories of that morning, how it went down with the squall that came through. We had Eric, Andrew, and Mike in the booth. And they spent some quality time with us, too, which is awesome. And Andrew and Eric both went and signed up at Nautical School, who you hear me mention to you all the time here on the podcast, to go see Captain Mike and register for your captain's license. Well, Andrew and Eric, who both won, and Mike, but the two of them went and registered for captain's license at the boat show. And they were the grand prize winners for Bay Rats and Buoys' first annual Striped Bass Invitational. And speaking of the grand prize, while Matt and Rich sat in the booth, Matt said these words. He said, I'm the grand prize sponsor again this year and next year and the year after that. And, we're very grateful for the relationships that we have and the camaraderie that we've created, not only with the tournament, but with the podcast. And it's these relationships that spawn off into things you have no idea what we're going to create and what we're going to do and what they're going to do. I mean, since I've met Matt, he's already built another store in East Setauket, and he's taken over Long Island. And I fucking love that. Just like I'm taking over the Long Island Sound with the fishingleague.com. Whether you fish New York or Connecticut, you can register your team. And you don't have to worry about the team name and who's on your team just yet, because the league doesn't start until April 15th. But you can go and register. So for the team name, if you didn't come up with a crazy name like the Clam Slammers like John did, and you got to think about it, just put a TBD in there. It's to be determined. And we'll get to that. We'll figure that out. But this way you lock yourself into a division. Because of the response that we're getting, there may be a point where we hit a cap and we say, okay, we've reached the cap for this division. And there are 5 different divisions. So whether you're a shore angler, a kayaker, or a boater, this league is for you. So if you fish the Long Island Sound, go check it out. First and foremost, this weekend, Saturday, you're going to catch me and Corey over at the Copeg Fire Department Marine Unit Fishing Expo. That's January 31st from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And looks like the snow got waved off on Saturday, so it looks like now it's coming on Sunday, just in time for after the expo. So me and Corey will be there. Come check us out. It's $10 to get in, and it's going to have 40-plus vendors. There's going to be food trucks, and it should be a great local show. We're excited to be there, and thank you, Tom Dodge, for inviting us. We greatly appreciate it. Bay Rats and Buoys is grateful, and we will be there, bells and whistles, handing out stickers to all the loyal listeners that we have, and hopefully meet some new people that will now tune in to the podcast. And I'm sure we'll try to get some of the vendors that are there, if they have time, to talk about their product. I did come across some really cool products that I will be sharing with you guys at the boat show, so we'll get into that in a boat show episode that I'm going to do about the products as we get closer to April 15th, because right now only Howie is getting his gear together, and Frank and Andrew and Mike and Corey and myself, everybody's getting ready. We got less than 80 days until opening day for striped bass. We got ice out there now. I can't wait to see what the water temperatures are going to be. I think it's going to be a little cooler because of the water and the snow and the ice that we have. When that happens, the water temperature's a little cooler. So, Eric and Keith, they also stopped by the booth. It was great to see them. And this is funny because Eric and Keith, with their Huntington Yacht Club and their Mauritius gang, they stopped by the booth, and it was great to see them there. Always is. Eric's in the fishing club, and I think Keith's going to be on his team. Keith's an awesome fisherman, awesome boater. Used to be in my marina. Now he's in Mauritius. We love Keith. So coming on next on the podcast was James, a.k.a. White Boy from NYC Pirates. And I was telling Eric and Keith that he's coming on next. And Eric's like, dude, I got footage on my phone. I was driving down the Hudson. And you know where Eric's driving the 38 Outrage? It's always going 50 miles an hour. He loves that thing in sport mode. It sounds like a beast. But all these jet skis are flying by him. And sure as shit, it's James's crew. And that video just turned out to be an epic. The NYC Pirates, they got an amazing club. And if you're into jet skis and boating with those guys, we had a great podcast. So tune into that. I did put that up on the YouTube channel. It just made its way onto Facebook, and we will get the shorts out onto YouTube Shorts, Instagram, and TikTok. So you guys can check that out. Wherever you listen to your audio podcast, it's up there as well. So we also met Amanda from the Paddle Pub /Long Island, if you want to Google that. I always see the Paddle Pub in my area in Huntington, and you saw they had 2 tiki bars that they were driving around in the harbor this year. One of those tiki bars is going to go to Patchogue, where she also has a paddle pub and a tiki bar. And then in Huntington, we're going to have 1 tiki bar and a paddle pub, as we've had this past season. And she's been there for years with Paddle Pub. It's a great operation. It's an awesome time. You guys can go check out the website by going to Paddle Pub /Long Island. And you can Google that and search them up and check it out. Or paddlepub.com /Long Island. So it was great meeting Amanda. We had Kurt, who is the regional sales rep for Pursuit. So I think it's anywhere from Idaho to Canada is his area of responsibility. And you'll tune into that episode and you'll hear about his area of responsibility. He says it on the podcast. And he sat in with Brandon, who was also an ambassador for Pursuit. But you guys all know Brandon. If you fish the South Shore and you go to Causeway Bait and Tackle, because he does the Instagram post. So Brandon's already pretty famous, and everybody knew him as far as Instagram and who he is. So it was great having Kurt and Brandon on as well. We also sat with Jackie and Georgia from the New York State Canal System, which is super cool. I mean, I really want to go do it. I'm just not sure that my boat is set out for that trek and to go, head that far north and go through the canal system. But it definitely is on the bucket list of boating trips and boating things I want to do. Just like I want to go up to Mohegan Sun and do different trips by boat. But I think it's going to be boat number 2 or maybe even boat number 3 for me, which are all in the works. I'm working on it. Easy now. I'm working on it. You all know when you have a boat, all you want is a bigger boat. Everybody wants a bigger boat. Frank, you got a bigger boat this year. You moved into a new marina. You signed up for the club. And the minute you get a 50-degree day, you're out there under the tarp installing something else or doing something really cool to your boat. And that's just like the rest of us. We just want to do improvements. Andrew, if his dad would let him, his boat would be in the garage, and he'd have the heat on, working on it 24/7. And I know he's tried to pull that off, but he's been kicked out of the garage, so now he's got to work outside because they got too much stuff in there, you know? He's got engines everywhere, and it's awesome. So Andrew, Eric, and Mike were also in the booth. They were the champions of Bay Rats and Buoys' first annual Striped Bass Invitational, and they signed up for nautical school to get their captain's license. Andrew and Eric did. And after having Matt and Rich in the booth, and Mike, Andrew, and Eric, who all 5 of them were in the tournament, and hearing their stories, it gave me a good idea. I said, you know what? The stories you guys just told are unheard. And they're epic. They really are. They're truly amazing stories, fishing stories, about the squall that came through that morning and how it affected and how they did things because of that. that now I want to do a little round table, little Bay Rats and Buoys round table sessions where we're going to have maybe everybody that was in the crew on the boat for that team for the tournament sit down and talk about their experience that morning with the squall that we experienced and had. It was insane. So this year, we're going to announce it now. Bay Rats and Buoys' second annual Striped Bass Invitational will go down on Saturday, June 27th. And I'm thinking about doing a multi-day event where we could start Friday night at midnight and go into Sunday afternoon, end early on Sunday, and then go to the awards ceremony and make a whole weekend out of it. If you guys are into that, let me know. So that's the idea. But right now we're locking in Saturday, June 27th for the Bay Rats and Buoys' second annual Striped Bass Invitational. Matt from J&M Seafood is the official grand prize sponsor. He sat in the booth and said, I'm in this year, next year, and the year after that. And it's the camaraderie that we create through these relationships, through fishing, through the marinas, through the clubs, through the league that we're very grateful for. We really are. And all the other sponsors. I'm not even going to get into that right now because I got more people to thank for stopping by the booth, like Jumpin' Jack Bass. Jumpin' Jack Bass stopped by with his wife, and I got to say, it's awesome meeting everybody in person. It really is. Steve, who saw me at the boat show last year. I can't forget Steve because he came over and gave me a compliment and said he absolutely loves the energy that I bring to the podcast. And I was super grateful for hearing that. And he went home and he signed up for the club. And I got to tell you, Manny, he's just west of you. So we really have the sound covered. And speaking of the club, somebody comes over to the booth, all smiles. Hey, Bay Rats and Buoys, the fishing club. We're calling you out. And it was 4 guys from Kings Park and Smithtown calling out the club. And you know what I said. It's on. Let's go. Pick the date. Anytime. We are willing to kick your ass any day of the week. And we are officially going to kick your ass. I think the odds on that are like you guys are plus 1,400 and we're like minus 800 in Vegas. I think I saw the lines on that matchup already. But seriously, we love it. We love the camaraderie that you guys have. They also were from Kings Park and Smithtown. And I told them about the studio in Kings Park because I cannot wait to make my videos there and show you what we have going on. But I don't want to do it there prior to us releasing videos about the facility and what we built and what we have going on there. All right, but I'm super happy to be in my studio now and not on the boat, freezing my tuchus off. So I'm happy to be in a nice warm studio. Now, I'm going to look through the photographs because I want to see who else we had on the podcast so that I could thank people for stopping by the booth. Like John Gaudio wrote a message in the Facebook group for the Savages. He wrote Savages for Captain David. So Captain David stopped by, and I love seeing him and speaking to him about all the stuff with the Coast Guard that we did in the past and just great stuff. I mean, the camaraderie is really, salty cat. There's nothing better to me than talking to a bunch of salty captains. Really, seriously. So Captain David Mahler, thank you for stopping by the booth, taking a photograph. I'll put the photos as I talk about these people up on the screen so you could see. You'll also see our shaggy rug because me and Corey put down a shaggin' wagon style rug in the booth. So we are Bay Rats and Bougie this year. We had an epic setup. We really did, and we got a ton of compliments at the boat show because of our setup. Even from a lot of other vendors, they actually said, wow, dude, your booth looks really, really good. And that was really nice to hear. It really was. But a lot of hard work and planning goes into that. It's not like it just looks nice because you show up and it looks nice. You know, you gotta plan that out. And me and Corey did a phenomenal job. We really did. Getting into the city, loading in, setting up, parking, all that fun stuff, loading out. Driving home in a snowstorm on Sunday. John and his crew showed up Sunday. The Clam Slammers showed up, which I thought was an epic name for their team in the fishingleague.com, which you guys can go and register and put your team name in. And if you can't think of a name, just put TBD, to be determined. And you could put 1 or 2 people in the list of 4 for 2 to 4 anglers, and you could add your names onto the list by April 15th. So this way you could get into one of the divisions now before we set a cap on how many teams can actually get in. So I also got to mention Chris Squeary from the Montauk Canyon Challenge. Last year, we went out to the Montauk Canyon Challenge and spent the whole day out there because Chris invited us out. He invited Bay Rats and Buoys, and we were super grateful and excited to go out there and see what the tournament was like. We happened to get there on an epic day where a lot of boats were coming in and everybody was weighing their fish. So you want to tune into that episode with Montauk Canyon Challenge, the Hampton Shootout, and now you place in both of those. You have the chance of being the New York offshore champion. So even that is growing. Every year it grows. And, he told me his first tournament, they had, 12 boats. I said, for our first tournament, we had 20 boats. And, I said we had 20 boats on a tournament. And then he told me that he had 12, that we had him beat, that he had 12 in his first tournament. So 20 boats we were excited. Me and Corey were super excited that we had 20 boats on our tournament. This year, we're hoping to have 30 boats, and we'll be super happy that it grows every year. But now people heard more about it, and the buzz gets out there. And we're excited about that. So tune into Montauk Canyon Challenge with Chris Squeary. That was an epic episode. Then I had the Captain Amal from the Big Apple Charters. So Big Apple Charters sat on. They're splashing down a new boat in March. They got $1 million yacht, and they have some boats that they take people out on right there at Chelsea Piers. So that was a super cool episode. I was super excited to meet Amanda from the Paddle Pub in Huntington. To me, that was epic because it was so nonchalant the way we met, and just, I got the Paddle Pub and franchisee owner and blah. And it was like, what? Wait, who? Wait, I see your boats every day, all day, from my commercial towboat or from my charter boat. It's like every day. And we talked about Eric and Keith and Jackie in Georgia and James from the NYC Pirates, who came on after I was speaking to Eric and Keith in the booth. And the NYC Pirates, you can check them out at nycpirates.org. It's a great organization. It's a great club. You could join the club and check out the podcast that me and James did. It's up on YouTube. I put it up on Facebook. And it's on all the platforms that you can get a podcast on. I am going to create shorts for YouTube, shorter versions of it for Instagram and TikTok that we will get up tomorrow. So, Jesus, it's not like I'm not doing anything, folks. We just got back from the Javits Center. And this Friday, I produce a couple of podcasts, and one of them is a sports talk show. And this week, Scott Baio. So I got Chachi from Happy Days is going to be a guest on the sports show. So that just brings back some memories for sure, watching Happy Days. But speaking of Happy Days, when I tell you I have an issue with my boat, it's because there's a problem with the engine. There's a problem with something. We all have boats. We know what that's like. I had 3 different mechanics, and I'm not shitting you. 3. 1, 2, 3. And one was an electronics specialist. Came down and looked at it, went through it. One changed a whole bunch of stuff, thinking if it's this, fixed. If it's that, fixed. None of it worked. But we did change a lot of new parts, so I don't mind doing that. But master technician Keith over at Britannia, who I go way back with. I love Keith. Always have. The same problem. Got 3 mechanics couldn't fix. He fixed it in less than an hour. And, I get to spend quality time with him at the boat show. So he comes over to my booth. I go over to his booth, and the stories that we're telling are just absolutely hysterical and awesome. And They would make great podcast content. But again, not everybody is willing to get in front of a camera and on a microphone. It's just not their thing. They just don't do it. And I get that. And I love Keith. And I got to give a big shout out to Keith because he did fix the problem. And he is the best boat mechanic in the United States. He's one of them. I'm telling you that right now, without a doubt, hands down. So if you need something fixed and you have, I don't care what kind of boat it is, you go talk to Keith. If he can't fix it, maybe he could tell you somebody that can. And the reason he can't fix it is because maybe he doesn't work on your type of boat or engine. I don't know. But he works on my Yamaha. I love him, and he's the best. So I just wanted to put that out there. Who else did we see that maybe I didn't mention so far? We mentioned David. We mentioned John. And we mentioned Kurt and Brandon. Kurt is the Northeast rep of Pursuit, and he was there. You could check out Pursuit's website, I think, and listen to the podcast. I think his area of responsibility is from like Idaho to Canada, the whole Northeast. And we had Brandon on, which a lot of you know Brandon on Instagram from the Causeway Bait and Tackle Shop, where I used to stop and go into when I launched my boat out of Montauk Park. So maybe you didn't know that about me, but now you do. But I did grow up in the Northport, East Northport area, graduated Northport High School, and have always boated in those waters. So that's why that is my hometown. That's my area. I am still there now and absolutely love it. Wouldn't trade it for the world. So, and all you guys know that live there know why. So let's keep it that hidden secret, like when the news and the newspapers do articles of this hidden gem. And you think we'll get an influx of people moving into town. So the boat show was awesome. Met a lot of cool people. Big shout out to Steven. Appreciate you joining the club. Jumping Jack Bass. It was super nice to meet you and your wife. It really was. And me and Corey had a great time. Even guys like Phil from Goose Hummock, the owner of Goose Hummock, which is out of Cape Cod. And just talking to these guys, spending a half an hour in their booth talking to them, or a half an hour booth talking to them. You realize how passionate people are about what we do, about what they do. And, we're all in the fishing, boating, maritime industry. Mike with Nautical School and everybody as a whole, whether it's, you're selling pursuits, whether you're a mechanic, whether you're selling something to make your boat better, faster, cleaner, cooler, upholstery, just everything. You go to the boat show, everything is there. I'm excited for this weekend to check out the Copeg Fire Department Marine Unit Fishing Expo, Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's going to be a great show, and I'm not a forecaster. I'm not a weatherman, not a meteorologist, but there ain't going to be any snow, so you better come check me and Corey out there. Come grab a sticker off the table. We'll be happy to see you. Hopefully we'll get to interview and meet some of the vendors there and show off some of the new products. I will have an episode about some of the products that I found at the boat show that I'll show you guys as we get closer to April, because God only knows Frank and Andrew and Howie and Rob and Greg and Eric. You guys don't need any more products. Jesus Christmas. Yes, we do. We're never going to stop buying. You know what I mean? It's never going to happen. But I found some new cool stuff that I can't wait to test out in April. It's going to be badass. It looks badass, and I hope it really is. But the reviews on it are really cool. So if it works and it kicks ass, maybe I'll share it with you. Just like I told you about the NLBNs this year. All right? When I told you about that, people were in the store while I was in the store coming in and said, I'm coming to buy NLBNs in this store because you told me to come here and buy them. Just like I told Mike at Captain School that I tell people here to go to nautical school and get your captain's license. Well, Andrew and Eric, who won the tournament while sitting at the boat show, went and signed up to get their captain's license. You can't make it up. It's real. And it's right here at Bay Rats and Buoys, and we're proud of that. And we got a badass fishing club. And you should join it. You can head over to sandcitycharter.com. It's right on the homepage. I mean, you can go to bayratsandbuoys.com too, but good luck spelling buoys. I mean, you people out there, a bunch of retards, a bunch of googans. So, yeah, so go to that site because the googans can't spell anyway, so we're not going to get them in the club. And that's why I always say sandcitycharter.com because it's that easy. But I got a website that's even easier for you guys, and it's called thefishingleague.com. And also you got to go to that site and register, put your team in, and let's compete from April 15th to December 15th. You have 8 months. 8 months. The sponsors are going to be epic. Speaking of sponsors, J&M Seafood. Grand prize sponsor for the Bay Rats and Buoys' second annual Striped Bass Invitational. We can't thank him enough. It was great seeing him and Rich and hearing the stories. It really was. Just like it was great to sit with Mike and Andrew in the booth, for a few hours and talk and go over things. And Eric hearing the story about what really happened on the boat. That was really cool, which is why I have to have a roundtable series and get a bunch of the people that were on the teams for the tournament and talk about the squall and the shit that went on June 22nd of 2025. This year, it's June 27th. We're thinking of a Friday night, midnight to Sunday, early afternoon, and with an award ceremony, and maybe run a whole weekend. Tell me what your thoughts are on that, if you like it. If not, right now, we're going to lock in June 27th as the date for the Bay Rats and Buoys' second annual Striped Bass Invitational. Also, March 7th and 8th, Ward Melville High School. One of the best fishing shows Long Island has ever had. All right? It's going to be packed for 2 days. Every year it's 1 day. Bob Wilson, you run an amazing show. This year, it's going to be 2 days, and we're going to be there in the gymnasium. And we're excited. We really are. Maybe you guys that fish the Long Island Sound will stop by and say what's up and sign up for the league. We will be registering people at all the shows. It's very easy to do, and we'll show you how. If not, you can just go to the website, thefishingleague.com. Now, who else that I had on the podcast? We talked about Kurt and Brandon from Pursuit. We ran into the Clam Slammers with John and the boys. You guys already know John because you see the little Coke-Pepsi rivalry that we have going on, all right? And he's in the fishing club, so I'm super excited to have him in the club because we got some really good anglers. And all you other clubs out there, we're officially going to kick your ass. 100%. It's not a chance. There's not a chance of you winning. David Mahler, Eric, Keith. We got Keith the mechanic, James from NYC Pirates, Jackie and Georgia, and Amanda from the Paddle Pub, Long Island. Check that out. And then we had Captain Amal. It's Amal or Amal. I got to look at the card. But I always say I hate saying names wrong as an MC. It's the worst thing. Chris Squeary, we loved having Chris on. That was awesome. And, again, the big shout-out to everybody from the NMMA. That's a tongue twister. And what else? Fishing shows this weekend. Then we got March. We got the Ward Melville show. And before you know it, I mean, we're just under 80 days. We're under 80 days right now until opening day. So, to me, after the boat show, this is when it goes pretty quick. Get us through February and Valentine's Day. Let's not bang out a couple of, holidays here and get through it. We got Valentine's Day. We got President's Day, Valentine's Day, or Valentine's Day, President's Day, and then what do we got? We got March. You got your March Madness. That's a holiday for all you sports fans out there. St. Patrick's Day, April Fool's Day, and me and Corey are booking charters. We've never booked as many charters in January as we have this year. We've sent out an email to a lot of the folks that come out with us to let them know we were running a special just for them because they've been out with us before, and we want to reward them and give back, and that was the case. But if you guys want to get out and fish early in the season and get on some big bass, now's the time to book at sandcitycharter.com. It really is. So you have the club you can sign up for. You got tons of content and podcasts to watch from the boat show. I'll be putting up new stuff every day to get it out because I'm so busy. Life is good. Hope you guys are doing well, staying warm, staying safe. We avoided a ton of, I want to say, idiots to and from the Jacob Javits Center on Sunday in that snowstorm. Okay, there are a lot of idiots out there driving with their hazards on saying, hey, look at me, I don't belong out here, but I'm going to get stuck and crash, so watch out. That's really what the hazard lights meant. If you put your hazards on, you should have put a mask on too. So anyway, we avoided idiots to and from the Javits Center. I even made a quick little video. There were a lot of cars broken down, you know, they're stuck in the snow. And they just didn't belong out there. But, man, I tell you, we pulled right into the Javits, right up to our booth, loaded the stuff in, and in 20 minutes we were gone. The load out couldn't have been any easier. What a shit show it must have been on Monday and Tuesday to get all the boats out of there. Usually that starts happening, breaking stuff down Sunday night. But because of the closure and the snow, the Javits Center didn't have the staff there for the union to be breaking down the pipe and drape and the carpet and all the stuff that has to, break down. It's an amazing show. So thank you to all that attended. It was fun seeing you guys. Thanks for joining the club. Thank you for joining the fishingleague.com. I can't wait to get that rolling April 15th. From April 15th to December 15th. That's going to be an epic league. Jump into the division, get your team in there, and let's compete all season long. One sound, one league, one champ. Captain Gage signing off. Over and out.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. Be sure to visit sandcitycharter.com and follow Captain Gage on all our social media channels.